Hey there. Our podcast today is again about Apple. Well, we're not gonna turn into an Apple podcast, so don't worry. But anyway, so the item is on this episode is iRobot. Is this Apple's underground project? Let's take a dive in. So all the, I call it iProducts, all the products that Apple have shipped, have been creating, well, it could be much more than just about selling great products. I'd say it might be directing us into a brave new world. And my intuition leads me to believe that all those products and services, and especially Apple's iCloud and Siri, might become the foundation of the new robotics revolution. Listening to Siri, I could not stop myself from reflecting on the sounds of the robots, from sci-fi movies and books that I've been reading since I was a child. The iROBOT, Odyssey 2001, and many other books, and Arthur C. Clarke and all the other beloved sci-fi authors. Anyway, the associations those stories had brought to mind were, there are several questions here, and I want to share with you what I think about this. Is this reality designed by Apple, getting into the iRobot, or is it just an accidental outcome? What are the clear signs for this reality to happen? What are the dangers as well as the amazing benefits to you? And so, if you read through Steve's biography, it says that Steve Jobs and Apple always planned 10 years in advance. I'd say Steve Jobs was secretly carving out his 10 years plans from a 50 years ahead vision. Yes, those recent years are part of a much bigger story that is about to unveil. Now, Steve had always wanted to get humanity a fair chance at expressing itself through easy-to-use, integrated, holistic systems. If you are an artist, or everybody wants to be an artist in his own way. You will always want to be special in something. So if you are an artist, and we have just determined that all of us are artists in this way or another, you have an urge to express yourself. You still have to struggle with several mighty challenges. Firstly, you gotta get food on your plate. You gotta earn a salary, you gotta do something that is worth money and that people would love to pay you. You need to get someone else to do the daily grunge work. Okay? So if you are an artist, you need somehow get food on your plate, and you need somebody do the cleanups, prepare the food for you, put some order in your life, so you have some spare time to be creative. Okay, next thing is you need to own a great expression tool. It could be a paintbrush, it could be a computer, it could be the tools you need to sew, whatever. And you want it to be exceptionally easy to use, so it saves you time. So it could be a mouse, it could be a touch screen, it could be a drawing pad, whatever. Now, if you're already noticing, I'm always mentioning computer-related tools, but that's what I live. And the fourth thing is you need a great distribution channel. Somewhere you could put your creations on display and maybe even sell them. It could be a bookstore, an iTunes store, iPods, iPads, Apple computers, whatever. Now, I don't think Apple's vision was about getting food on your plate. it could be doing that if you're an application programmer, or you create songs and you put it on iStore, but I don't think that's Apple's main focus. Now, so Apple's not focused on helping you get the job you need to pay for your bills. But the other three items on the short list here are definitely what Apple is all about. And they could bring you closer. They could even bring you closer to getting the food on your plate, consequently. Now, actually, there's more to it. But we'll talk about this a bit later. Now, let's review the first item on the short list. Get someone else do the daily grunge work for you. So the Apple II series and later on the Macs, the iMacs, and the other Apple computers allowed to lift off many repetitive calculations or actions. The iTunes program and its related iPod saves you lots of time finding the stuff you love and listening to it the way you like it. Okay, the iPhone, the iPod Touch, and the iPad has tons of useful applications that save you time and effort, and operating them is much easier than a regular computer, and they are available to you wherever you go with just a touch of your finger. Then Siri takes it to a whole level up by understanding what you meant. So instead of just executing exactly what you told it to do, it actually understands what you meant and carries on. Now, the future iTV, the iTV is my guess name for the forthcoming Apple TV. So the iTV will be, that's what I'm saying, accompanied by Siri's engine, and it will lift off any remaining struggles we still have with scheduling the consumption of our beloved TV programs and movies and other heroes that we have on the screen. We will be finally able to dump our remote controls and the click, 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 why doesn't it work nightmare. Now, and it doesn't matter how much you're, genius with technology, it's still a nightmare to use many of the remote control systems. Each device has another system and menus that you need to understand. Now, we are getting accustomed to getting the stuff we do, we do not want to do by the iProducts, by Apple's products, except for the physical world. And the iRobot will close the remaining gap and actually move things, do things for us, but there's much more to it. And we'll talk about it very, very soon. And now we are on the second part on our list, which is own a great expression tool, paintbrush, a computer that is exceptionally easy to use. And I mentioned mouse, touchscreen. Okay, now the Apple II computer was the first personal computer, but it was also the first platform that allowed developers create new tools for the Apple II users. And I mentioned it in the past. Apple was always focused this way or another on creating platforms rather than just point products. So that would people use the platform to create other products based on the platform, which will increase the speed in which people buy the platform from Apple to use the products that were built on top of it. Now, it all started with applications such as the VisiCalc on the Apple II. So VisiCalc was a spreadsheet which took care of calculations, which was grunge work for many people. But in doing so, this allowed for financial creativity to spawn. So people could, take the whole financial and actually mathematical and sometimes many other calculations, geography and whatever, so biology, and they could care less about the manual computations because it was done for them by VisiCalc, later on by Excel, and focus on the outcomes they would want to derive from those calculations, create solutions, products, instead of spend time on mere calculations. Now, this was the VisiCalc is a well-known example because it drove very high percentage of Apple II sales for several years, much more than Apple was selling Apple II as a hardware device. It was sold just because of VisiCalc and other applications. But so many other applications followed VisiCalc and allowed self-expression for many professionals, hobbyists, many other people. So the Apple II also allowed a relative ease of use in operating a computer, because it was up until then people need to use switches and valves to just feed information into the computer, or punch cards and then get the output in a very non-convenient way. So it was the first computer that allowed interaction using typed letters on a keyboard, words actually, and the results were displayed on screen. Okay? Now, the Macintosh took it further with stunning graphics, clear menu system, and easy to use interface. A new interface device, it was the mouse. Now, the iPod let people express their likes for music and provided a simple interface to listen to those songs. So it wasn't only for listening, but once people put the most favorite songs on the iPod, they could, even if they didn't share their likes, they would still feel great about having their own radio station available to them. So, and it was exceptionally easy way to acquire the songs and listen to them through the iTunes Store and the iPod interface, which was very simple to use. Now, the iPhone and iPad allowed doing the same, but they would do it with movies. And furthermore, they allowed all of us to express ourselves with a much wider audience, because those tools were connected to the internet and you had network access, and then consequently access to social media, access to your friends. You could tell them what you liked. You could tell them your opinion about what you like or dislike. Now, initially it was the touch interface that drove the quick adaption. Now it's going to be Siri. In the future Apple TV, I call it the iTV, will bring this experience to a much wider audience at home. It's those people who don't need a mobile phone, or they have a mobile phone and still maybe they don't have an iPhone. Anyway, they need a solution, a better solution for their TV at home. Now, you should notice a common thread here. Apple always facilitates a quick adoption of its products by offering an innovative, easier to use interface. So it makes it easier to express yourself, and this leads to the next story, which is the second item on the list. Have a great distribution channel. Bookstore, iTunes Store, iPod, iPads, Apple computers. Now, let's talk about it. So, this is the last item on the list, but I like to remind you, we still have to expose the invisible agenda, But first, let's talk distribution. Okay, so the Apple II physical distribution channel was based on computer stores, and later expanded to computer and electronics brands and other partnerships. However, the virtual distribution channel, and this is an acronym I've just created out of thin air, it was based on the operating system platform, and developers who created the software for the Apple II we're actually increasing its value and reach. And by providing beneficial programs, they were actually forcing the physical channel to expand. So people would need the software solutions available on Apple II, and this drove sales for the hardware. Now, this increased when Mac was out the door as well. Now, as the iPod was introduced, it was accompanied by the by the iTunes Store and partnerships with the music industry. Okay, so this is widened to the TV and film industry when the iPhone and the iPad was introduced. The launch of the App Store expanded the virtual distribution channel even furthermore, and it was same as the Apple II system did in the past, and it drove sales for more devices. Now, Siri might create a whole new category of a virtual distribution channel based on voice. It could actually analyze what you ask for the most, what you talk about all the time, and it would offer you products and services that match your interests. Now, it could match what you and your friends like, and it could maybe even offer group discounts based on that. It could offer information for marketers, which is much more powerful than what Facebook now offers. It's because Siri serves your most personal needs that you would not even think sharing on Facebook. Okay? So, it's not because it is secret. Let me explain. On Facebook, you share what's up with you, but what you like, what you don't like, but you tell Siri what you need all day long. You feel much more intimate with your personal assistant compared to your, friend's, meetup, which is Facebook, right? So, anyway, combining Siri with the future Apple TV would bring Apple's personal assistant from the road, on your iPhone and iPad, to your home. Now, you could be using your iPod and iPad at home as well, but it's more related to being mobile. So once the Apple TV is in with Siri integrated, it would dump away one of our most frustrating tool, which is the manual remote control. Okay, the distribution channel might then include goods and stores. So your neighborhood mall might be find itself paying 30% commission, or probably less, but anyway, to Apple for facilitating your shoppings. Well, almost. Now, doing that, Apple will complete a holistic integration with your life. And maybe not yet, because Siri is still virtual in this case. Well, maybe not for a long time. But the reason I'm mentioning buying goods and stores, and local stores, local physical stores, is because, you could say, well, I could buy stuff from stores, from physical stores, right through my iPad or iPod. Well, maybe, but it's about the mental state you are when you're at home. When you're on the road with your iPod, you don't remember what's missing from your refrigerator. You don't see what's kind of furniture you would like to get. But when you're at home, you are more exposed to what's going on at home. Your wife will tell you, hey, we need more sugar, whatever. Then it might be much more easier to talk to your TV and ask it to take care of it. Okay. So anyway, I believe that Apple has already got the iRobot ready for manufacturing. It's just a guess, but that's what my intuition tells me, because all the missing parts are there, I think. So I think it's not being delayed because Apple cannot manufacture it. At least in a limited distribution. I think they could create several hundreds of units, for maybe for the upper class, people who can spend several dozens of thousands of dollars. But I think Apple still needs Siri to mature, to get to know you better. It also needs you to trust Siri and get used to using it. So the final frontier, once the iRobot is shipped, the final frontier will collapse, because then Siri becomes part of the new mind of Apple's iRobot, and Apple will be helping you out on the physical world. Apple will now be able to get iRobot do the daily grunt work for you. You will own a great expression tool, so iRobot will do stuff for you. Maybe it would, well, I don't even want to say what it would do for you. I don't want to say it will paint for you, but I'm sure that it will be exceptionally easy to use. You would just tell iRobot what you need, and it will be done. And Apple will have a great new distribution channel. So if the iPhone, the iPod, the iTunes facilitated the marketing and sales of content, songs, movies, applications, the iRobot will be the channel for the physical goods. So guess where the Walmart's iRobot version will buy a grocery from? It will probably be sold for almost free once you pay the Walmart's monthly membership fee, or minimum spending at Walmart. Okay, interesting. And now we've reached the last segment here. It's about the invisible agenda. Okay, it's all about the content, not products. Now, people tend to believe that Apple is focused on creating great products, and that's true. But I don't think this is Apple's main target. I believe that for Apple, it is all about the content. It was always so, and here is how it looks like. Let's review Apple's products and see if it's all about products or content. The Apple II, it was the first computer, and it was used to sell programs. It's true that Apple didn't have lots of programs, but let's stick with this anyway. The Mac, it was the first graphical computer, and it sold even more programs. If you're still sticking to the fact that Apple and Mac are computers, and please remember that the value was in the programs that could be run in it, not the hardware itself. It doesn't do anything without the software. And part of the reasons why Apple could charge a premium was because the programs that were in this computer. So even if you were paying for the computer, you're actually paying for the software, which let you have the experience you get. Now, the iPod, it was the first simple to use powerful personal MP3 player, and the content that was sold, in which Apple was focused on, was songs. The iPhone, it was the first touchscreen, and you can see here the user interface innovations which drove sales, but still, so the iPhone, still it was focused on content. So the iPhone, the first touchscreen, powerful content / application mobile device. This is what was the iPhone was. So, but the content was sell songs, movies, applications, books, newspapers. Okay, so it's the content. The iPhone itself is not worth too much without the content. The iPad, first touchscreen, powerful content and application mobile tablet. Still, the focus was on selling songs, movies, applications, books, and I think services. That's what's starting to appear. Because, it's about businesses who let you use their applications, but once they have great applications, you're more likely to use their services, And another way to look at it are services who are available through, web services, which are available through the iPhone in a much more powerful and useful way. So, the next product is Siri. Okay, I'm saying that the actual product was not the iPhone 4S. It was actually Siri. And you may disagree, but I think Siri is the main focus, not the iPhone 4S. Now, and so the solution was the first voice-driven mobile personal assistant. Well, the first effective and very diverse one and intelligent one. So the content is songs, movies, applications, books, and services. Now, the future iTV is going to be the first voice-operated home assistant appliance. So I didn't say it was a TV, it's the home assistant appliance. And yes, the future Apple TV will not only make it easier for you to find, record, and display your content, it will also help you manage your life, focusing on shopping from local stores. And I don't want to think about where will Google Local and Facebook Places find themselves. But, the last missing part will be the iRobot. And it will be the first voice-operated, humanized personal assistant. From shopping to supporting your mother as she gets old. And, the distribution channel will be the physical stores. Now let's face it, who would not be happy to avoid the grunge shopping? The milk and meat and whatever you need to buy daily or weekly. We'll probably still actually go to a store to buy clothes, shoes, gadgets, and cars, But I think we'll be happy to drop any grunge shopping, as I call it. What's next? Well, who knows? What do you think? Anyway, I'll be happy to get your feedback. Any questions, any notes? I'm sure you'll have lots to say about what I speculated here. And I'll be happy to have you join our next episodes of the IT Professionals Reporting from the Trenches podcast, right here on the show notes links. See you. Have a great day. Bye.